And Sydney's annual Story Week is back for 2021, featuring some of the best performing writers right across the country. One of the featured acts is Hani Abdile, a writer and poet who fled the civil war in Somalia when she was a teenager.
She was detained on Christmas Island for almost a year, but she made it to Sydney in 2014. She's carved a name for herself in the local writing scene ever since. And Hani joins me now from Sydney. Good morning to you and welcome to News Breakfast.
Oh, thank you, Lisa. Thank you for having me.
Oh, well, it's great to have you on. Tell me, that journey from Somalia, how much of that do you use in your performances, in your writing? Is that part of the inspiration for you?
I think, oh God, I think you can't make tragedy part of inspiration. Because I think our journeys are quite tragic, but it's like ones that shape our presence. So I would say most of it, but not all of it. I like writing about little things too.
And what is it like for you to be performing your poetry?
I think it's beauty because I think one thing that makes the world united is poetry and food. You give people poetry and food, and then happiness began. So for me, it's the audience, it's the people give me fuel, and I use my past a little bit to polish it.
I have seen you say elsewhere that if you've got pen and paper in your hands, then you are very powerful. Is that how you feel?
Yeah, absolutely. I always I always think education is the most powerful weapon, and I think that was Nelson Mandela's words. And it's when you have the words, you have a power, and you have something actually no one else can ever take away from you. And also, it's a cure for to heal our past and present, and also it's beauty.
Is this something that you'd always wanted to do?
Other than being a poet, I would say the thing I want to do the most is have accessible library.
Accessible library.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that? How do you want to see that happen? What do you mean by that?
I think that through people, because I think creative writing and poetry are most of the things that we value, and I want that to be accessible for every individual that lives in our country.
And you're going to be helping others now. You're going to be teaching others who want to learn how to do what you do. Is that what you're hoping that Story Week, which is on at the moment, and one of the reasons we're talking to you, that is what it will achieve?
Yeah, absolutely. So Story Week, one of the events that we're running, that I've been running workshops for the last 3 weeks, it's called Chasing Home, and it's the idea of home. And sometimes, people have the stories, but sometimes we just need a little bit of spotlight to put the story into the spotlight. And I think there's a lot of refugees and asylum seekers who have a lot of stories in Australia. So I guess I won't say I'm their voices, because I think people have voices, but I say with Story Week, we'll put a little bit of light and shine into those stories. And Chasing Home, which is one of the events that I'm running and I've been running in the last 3 weeks, is putting light into those stories and giving the human story into a body, because we always hear people's story, but we want to put the stories into face.
Hani, what is it that is, that means so much to go from just having the written word to actually doing it in front of an audience, the spoken word?
I think Lisa, right now actually we come out of lockdown, and we've been actually I would say mentally confused because of the lockdown. So I think it's very exciting for me actually to go in front of the audience and perform my poetry, but also bring to the table things that I found on the way. So I think Story Week, what is providing is the beauty of going back to the live audience again. And I think also the audience have a hunger for to see a live performance. So I'm super excited for that. But mainly for me, I always think if you don't share your story and then you don't share your neighbor's story, we all have the same story, but it's just different scenarios.
Hey, Hani, you've got a pretty big audience right at the moment who are probably desperate to hear you. Would you mind giving us a little performance?
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. This one is actually, it's called Across, and I just would like to actually give a little bit of content on it because it's a little bit sad, but I love sadness. Sadness is good for the soul. This one is called Across. Across the road from my full-day learning center, there is someone's son. Once had a dream, once had a desire, designed his own destiny. But his destination let him down. He's laying in a mental bed, surrounded by a silent professionals. Power and humanity have crashed. The rule of law are beautifully written. Values and dignity are repeated a lot, even though power divisions and fair trial is part of a beautiful justice system. But privacy of this son has been preached.
That's lovely. Hani, thank you so much for coming on this morning and for sharing that with us. You've written a book, your work has been published. People can look out for you if they want to hear a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Hani Abdile, thank you.